Well, hello, everybody. Glad you're with us here today on the Friday edition of Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. I am here as our normal Friday location, one of the great Stivers dealerships in the River Region area, Stivers Ford here in Montgomery. And it's kind of like, where's Waldo? Where is Barry McKnight today?
Long day of travel yesterday from Harrisonburg, Virginia, right down to Oxford, Ohio, which is about 40 miles, as it turns out, about 40 miles north of Cincinnati.
Okay.
Got in late last night, and it's cold up here. It's not as cold as it's been, during the snow days we had in Alabama. But, yeah, Troy basketball tomorrow at noon against Miami of Ohio, and then we are driving halfway back and staying in, Franklin, Tennessee, near Gurn Jr. territory.
Sure.
And then pulling back into Troy tomorrow afternoon. Sunday afternoon. Lots going on.
So you're not
third straight show on the road.
You're not too far from the Kentucky state line.
Yes.
Cincinnati being pretty close. You're not too far up there, but certainly a lot of travel. There again, I looked it up on the map. Harrisonburg, Virginia to Oxford, Ohio. Pretty good haul yesterday.
Yeah.
But Troy basketball still going at it. Big road trip, and I know we'll be talking some about that today on the program. But as I was driving out here to Stivers, Barry, but first of all, let me tell you this. And I don't. This might not surprise you because I've said this so many times before. And as I pulled in, I got here a little early, and as I pulled in, I thought there is not one patch of land, grass, curb that does not have a vehicle on it. And I rode around to see if I could find a place that they could have put a car that they didn't. I did find one because it's a loading area. Another one is a fire lane, but everywhere else has got a vehicle parked somewhere, somehow. And I know I've said it before. I've never seen this many vehicles on the lot at one time at Stivers Ford in Montgomery. But this time, I've never seen more vehicles on the lot than I do today here at Stivers. It's unbelievable.
It is. I mean, and it's a big lot. Medians, side of the driveway. You drive into the front. It's a beautiful entrance right there. You drive into the front. Big median right in the middle as you come in for ingress and egress. That's got. I think when I went in there, they had the Ford F-150s all up and down that median.
That's right. Yep.
On the sides, right out there, you got the Ford Explorers all up and down. In the showroom where John is, all over the place. In the back, everywhere. And it's to your advantage.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody stocks more than Stivers. Detroit loves them. Nobody sells more than Stivers does as well. This is to your advantage.
Barry, I love how they get creative with their F-150s. You mentioned on the median driving in, they pop them up on the curb. Well, they got real creative with the Broncos. Broncos come in so many different types of variations. They get the street version, and then they got the kind of mid-range, and then they got the really tricked out with the bigger tires, and they lift them up a little bit for off-roading. Well, the off-road Broncos, they have got them up on the side of this hill, like they're climbing a big hill, up on a rock. It is really creative how they display these vehicles. But I'm going to tell you, folks, I rode around. If they don't have your vehicle today, then you don't want it. I mean, you're not driving because they've got everything you could want from the Ford lineup. And you mentioned it, Barry, the F-150. It's America's best-selling truck for close to 50 years in a row. Think about that. All these other truck manufacturers cannot touch the F-150 in terms of number of units sold and the popularity of that vehicle. You can get an F-150 crew cab right now up to $15,000 off MSRP, no payment for 90 days, and 1.9% APR for 60 months. That's right. You choose it. I want the 1.9 APR for 60 months, or I want it the $15,000 off right now. Either way, no payment for 90 days on America's best-selling pickup. Unbelievable.
That is called a can't miss. Yeah. Either way, there is no bad decision there. if you sit there and you spend a little time, crunch the numbers, of course, and it's Stivers to help you do that with the friendly sales associates, crunch the numbers. But either way, you come out like a rose, John. I mean, you can't lose.
And I know you get this question. I get it too. Oh, come on, guys. I hear you talk about the F-150 and the great deals. What is it, like 4 or 5 that they're trying to get off the lot? No. It's the hundreds of F-150s they have here on the lot for you to choose from. You pick the one you want, you get that deal. Matter of fact, you probably can make it a little bit sweeter if you want to here at Stivers, because price sells cars, whether it's an F-150, whether it's an Explorer, an Expedition, a Bronco, an Edge, it doesn't matter. And, of course, the Lincoln Luxury for Less lineup, we're going to tell you a little bit about that today as well. Phenomenal, unbelievable, all here at Stivers in Montgomery on the Eastern Boulevard, where price sells cars. Well, we're finally here. It is the weekend of the big game in New Orleans. And I got to tell you, Bear, I've been watching not a lot, but I do watch Fox a lot. I'm a big Fox guy. I love their talent. They do a good job. Kind of keep it on throughout the day. Yeah. They have done a ton of programming from New Orleans this week. You would expect. Fox is doing the game, so they're taking advantage of it. Got all of their personalities down there. And, I'm just kind of getting the feel, kind of getting the buzz. They interviewed Sean Payton, the former Saints coach, yesterday. Drew Brees, former Saints quarterback. They're excited about it being in New Orleans. I don't know. I finally got the buzz.
Has Fox interviewed Aaron Rodgers? I wonder. I
don't know.
Maybe they've made the request.
But my wife got up early today. She usually watches Fox and Friends. She doesn't watch us. I'm thinking, hello, what? She goes, oh yeah, honey, I watch you too. I went, yeah, I bet. Because Tom Brady is going to be on today. She had to get up to see Tom Brady, who's doing the game for Fox on Sunday
with Kevin Burkhardt. Yeah. She got up early to see Tom Brady.
That's what I said.
Yeah,
I mean, really?
No kidding.
I think it was on like 7:30 Eastern time or something, which was 6:30 hours. So she can still catch us. She's watching us right now, but she had to get up early to see Tom Brady. I went, oh, geez.
Yeah, probably watching us for the same reason she's watching Tom Brady, now that I think about it. Kickoff from the Super Bowl is 5:30 Central Time from the Superdome. They've got a live pregame show beginning at noon on Sunday, live from Bourbon Street.
Oh, love it.
That's going to be interesting.
Yes.
That's going to be interesting. Terry Bradshaw, Howie Long, Michael Strahan, Rob Gronkowski. There are 6 artists who have won a combined 38 Grammys who will perform on Sunday. 38 Grammys will be there. I've heard of maybe 3 of them. And the music I'm not all that familiar with. If it was me and I was in charge of the music for the Super Bowl down in New Orleans, it would be literally Orleans.
Maybe New Orleans Lady.
Yeah, maybe Louisiana LaRue.
LaRue, yeah. Didn't Orleans do Still the One that? Wasn't that Orleans? Yeah. Unfortunately, Jimmy Buffett's no longer with us. They could have had Jimmy Buffett at the halftime show.
Instead, nothing wrong with these people, but the Star Spangled Banner from John Batiste, America the Beautiful, which John has lobbied for years, ought to be the anthem.
Yes.
Lauren Daigle, joined by Grammy winner Trombone Shorty. You got a guy named Trombone Shorty is going to be playing the trombone for America the Beautiful.
Is that Big C? I thought he was Trombone Shorty.
Kendrick Lamar, who has won 22 Grammy Awards, will be joined by 5-time Grammy winner. Guys, you got to help me. SZA or Caesar? I don't know.
That's not ringing a bell.
Now, the commercials on the Super Bowl, 30-second spots are costing advertisers between $7 and $8 million this year.
Oh,
$7 to $8
Barry,
million.
Our ad rates aren't even close to that. I mean,
Yeah,
we can
the value is the same. Yeah,
heck, even better. I mean,
I imagine so.
Yeah, you know our email, longshoreMcKnight@gmail.com. If you want to advertise with us, let us know. I can promise you, you're going to get out a lot cheaper than $7 million a spot.
For a 30-second commercial.
Yeah,
so
but you're going to get the value you're going to get is priceless. So email us. We'll get in touch with you. I promise.
I ask you, Kevin Burkhardt and Tom Brady or Longshore and McKnight? I mean, come on, really?
Well, at least maybe an alternate broadcast, Barry. You know, they have all these different ways you can watch the game. You know, the mega cast or the, in the bar room cast or whatever. I think that'd be good. I was watching Colin Cowherd yesterday. He's doing his show from the Bourbon Orleans. Believe it or not, I've actually been in that place a time or 10. So I kind of knew where he was. Colin got sick on the air earlier this week. I don't know if you read that.
No,
he was doing his show live on the air, and it was in the middle of talking about, I guess, this Laker trade. And he just said, folks, I'm getting very, very sick very, very quickly. We got to go to a break. And he left the set, and J-Mac took over, and he finally, I don't know what happened to him, but he ended up in New Orleans 3 days later. Now, you're going to get sick. That's probably the place to get sick. But, yeah, I mean, he had to get off the air and go lay down or maybe go to the emergency room or something. But anyway.
So he didn't blow chunks or anything. I mean, on the air.
No, I think it looked like he was about to.
Yikes.
I don't think you want to do that. I think that would go viral if you actually, threw up on the air live. But yeah.
Knock on wood, that's never happened to us in 27 years. I mean, there's been times when we've been late coming back from a break.
True.
But that's about it. And
I
that
remember,
doesn't happen very often.
And I thought about that, Barry. I was thinking about that. I thought, if we ever had something like that happen, the only time, and I believe we were together, this was young, many, many years ago, we were at a video rental store. Believe it or not, folks, you used to have to go to the store and rent a VHS tape or a CD. That's how you watch movies. And we were there doing a show. We were on in the afternoon. So this is a long, long time ago.
Right.
And I remember during the show feeling so bad. I told the owner, and I believe I told you, I think we were together back then.
I forgot about that.
I said, I got to go.
That was when we first started together.
Yeah. I said, I feel terrible. Ended up having the flu, I think, or something like that. But that's the only time I can remember.
Yep. Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Knock on wood, that doesn't ever happen.
Well, I take my vitamins, so I don't have to get sick.
Also in news from the NFL, Josh Allen beats out Lamar Jackson to win his first MVP in the closest MVP vote since 2003, when Peyton Manning and Steve McNair shared the award. Manning for the Colts and McNair for the Titans. I think they're the Titans back then. Former Alabama defensive back Patrick Surtain wins the Defensive Player of the Year award. Saquon Barkley wins the Offensive Player of the Year. Right now, real quick before we go to break.
Right.
You may have to explain this to me, or may have to get Lee Sterling to explain it to me, because he's coming up in just a bit. Kansas City favored by 1.5. I get that. The money line, Kansas City minus 120, Philadelphia plus 100.
Okay. Oh.
The over under 48.5.
Okay.
And they have got a jillion prop bets. Later on, Ralph Michaels from Wagertalk and the Goldsheet will join us to explain that. A record $1.39 billion is expected to be legally wagered on the Super Bowl in the United States. Legally. John tells me that there's a chance that there may be even more wagered illegally on the Super Bowl. That's according to the American Gaming Association, which seems like a fun thing to belong to. A record $1.39 billion legally on the Super Bowl. And John says that still is dwarfed by, the other games, other income at a casino.
It is. Something about the Super Bowl, they just, people love to wager on it. There'll be a lot of wagering. And I don't know, Barry, if they are also including the squares. People will get together and you'll buy a square. They'll put the numbers and whatnot. If it hits on those numbers, you win the square, win the board. I don't know if that's included. I would assume that's gambling because you got to put your money in. And if it hits your number, you win. So it sounds like gambling to me.
Right.
So if that's incorporated in it as well, the numbers are off the chart. But you know what I'm looking for, Barry? I'm looking for all of the people that are going to get arrested here in the state of Alabama for gambling illegally because it's against the law. And, we can't have gambling in this state like 39 other states do because they won't let the citizens of Alabama vote on it because they think we're too stupid to vote on something like that. So I hope all of the law enforcement personnel around the state are making a lot of arrests this weekend because, as I've said many times before, per capita, Alabama has more illegal sports wagering than any state in the union. So let's enforce it. Let's do something about it. Just don't act like, no big deal, because if we can't have sports wagering, you might as well enforce it. Let's go. It's on you, law enforcement. You should be busy this weekend.
So we're talking about knocking on people's doors when they got a bunch of cars out front saying, excuse me, anybody betting on any? No? You sure? All right. You'd be honest with me. Okay. All right.
I got to think some of the big-time law enforcement agencies know who Moose and Rocco are in the state of Alabama. I think they find out who those people are.
If John does, they ought to know. That ought to happen.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, I got you. All right, we're here live at Stivers Ford in Montgomery where Price sells cars. Look, you got a Valentine that's been hinting about a new vehicle. They'll put a big red bow on that vehicle, that car, that truck, that SUV, that Lincoln, and they'll have it in the driveway for you a week from today. Barry, Valentine's a week from today.
Oh,
and a car from Stivers Ford would be awesome.
Yeah, come on by. It's at the Eastern Boulevard at the intersection of the Highway in Montgomery, Alabama. That's where John is. I'm in Oxford, Ohio right now. In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Why Hands? At Hands Heating and Air, you get this area's highest ranked service provider with 24-hour repair service, no overtime charges, and their same-day service guarantee. Plus, instead of other companies' 30-day repair warranty, Hands gives you a 3-year repair warranty. Hands Heating and Air is here for you 24/7, 365. And service is not just something they do, it's their way of operating, for you in mind. All of Hands employees are trained to adhere to this standard. They work hard to ensure that this standard is maintained, and they are constantly looking for new ways to better serve you. Call Hands Heating and Air today at 508-5382. That's 508-5382, or find them on the web at 834hands.com.
In sports, if you think joy only happens after you win, think again. Look at the world's most successful athletes like Serena Williams, Brooks Koepka, and Alex Morgan. They don't spend all their days grinding away. They take time to enjoy themselves, like getting together with friends over a Michelob Ultra, because they know that happiness is the key to winning, and that joy is the whole game, not just the end game. Michelob Ultra. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Don't miss your chance to win big at Victoryland Casino. Play the latest, hottest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. Don't miss out on your free play. Stop by Player Rewards today and check out this month's exciting free play promotions. Come see why our players keep coming back. You'll have more fun at Victoryland Casino, where you can be a winner too. Victoryland Casino, located off I-85 exit 22, Shorter, Alabama. Must be 21 or older.
Okay, here we are back at it live at Stivers Ford in Montgomery. Baby, we've been talking about it. We're a little more than a month away from the SEC men's basketball tournament in Nashville. And our good friends at Total Sports Travel have got you hooked up. I mean, let them deal with all of the arrangements, hotel accommodations, ticket booklets. If you need them, they can handle that for you as well. Hotel accommodations at the Omni in Nashville. Barry and I have stayed at that hotel for SEC Media Days. It is fabulous. And it's 1 block away from Bridgestone Arena, so you can walk to the games at your leisure whenever you like. and they'll take care of it for you. Just go to TotalSportsTravel.com. That's TotalSportsTravel.com, or dial them up 877-389-3750. That's 877-389-3750, and book your SEC men's basketball tournament package today and enjoy all of the hoops in Nashville for the SEC men's basketball tournament. And Barry, if they're as they're projecting possibly 13 teams from the SEC making the NCAA tournament, I got to think the SEC tournament's going to be pretty dadgum good.
It is going to be good. Now, let's just say, in worst case scenario, Auburn loses to Florida, Alabama loses at Arkansas, and that begins a free fall for those two programs who right now are at the top of the SEC standings and separating themselves a little bit. And they're not one of the top 4 seeds, then you're looking at, well, if you're Auburn or Alabama is not going to be any of the bottom 4 seeds. Bottom 4 seeds, bottom 7 seeds. Bottom 8 seeds play on Wednesday. That's March the 12th. If you're a 5, 6, 7, or 8 seed, you don't play till Thursday, March the 13th. If Auburn keep on the current trend, they earn a double bye and would not play until the quarterfinals on Friday, March the 14th. So you root for that. But regardless of whether you got to be there the first round or you start on that Friday round and go all the way to the championships, Total Sports Travel, any eventuality, they can handle it for you.
You better believe it. And I do know this as well, because I spoke with our friends at Total Sports Travel. They will have packages for the NCAA tournament as well. So if you're thinking about maybe wanting to head up there to the NCAA tournament, they've got you covered there with packages throughout, the quarterfinals, the semifinals, whatever it may be. They've got it.
Real quick, answer this question for me. Okay. Somebody just texted me that. What's that? Is that a Bronco behind you right there with the hood up?
Now, Barry, that's a vintage Bronco.
That's the one I remember, yeah.
Yes, that Bronco, is like in the 70s, I want to say. I don't know the exact year. I'll find out later today. But it is for sale. I did not realize it was for sale, but I see a sticker on it. So if you want to buy that vintage Bronco, it is for sale here at Stivers. Kelly, you know what year this Bronco is? 74. How about that?
Nice.
Kelly knew exactly what it was. So, you can purchase that if you want a vintage. And I like the color, Barry. I think that's more Troy Cardinal than it is Mississippi Crimson. State or Alabama Crimson.
Yeah, not maroon or anything like that. Yeah, very nice. That's where John is, in the showroom of Stivers Ford Lincoln, Eastern Boulevard of the Troy Highway in Montgomery, Alabama.
Hey, speaking of Alabama, if you were an Alabama fan, Barry, and if you saw this yesterday, I think this has got to make you feel better. One of those, I'm glad to hear that. That's refreshing. I hope this is the first of maybe many changes within the Alabama football program. Yesterday, one of Alabama's players, offensive lineman Rock Montgomery, sent out a tweet saying that this team is more dialed in this offseason. Quoting Rock, he said, "You can't be late to workouts no more. No more jewelry, no more necklaces, none of that. It's not a fashion show, it's football." And I read that and I went, wow. Now, that's refreshing. I don't have any problem with necklaces and earrings. I don't wear them. But I don't know if you remember I think 60 Minutes did a piece on Saban years ago. And one of the features of it was he was in a meeting room with the team and one of the players came in late. And the reason he came in late because he was trying to take his earrings out. And Saban lit him up in front of everybody. And seeing this from an Alabama player saying, this isn't a fashion show, it's football. If you're an Alabama fan, I got to think that's something you'd like to hear under the coach Kalen DeBoer tenure.
doesn't matter one bit. Not one bit that I had never heard of Rock Montgomery before in my life. I'm a fan all of a sudden. Is he a player? Is he going to be a stalwart along that offensive line?
Oh.
I don't know. Doesn't matter. You know, there have been backups who have set the tone for teams before. I work with one every day. This is what he said. And he's talking about Dave Ballou, who's the director of sports performance at Alabama. That's strength and conditioning coach. Rock says, quote, "This is our second week of workouts. 1 week in, and things have changed." He said, "We started as a team last week." And I'm just reading here. This is not my grammar. You can't be late to workouts no more. No more jewelry, no more necklaces, none of that. It's not a fashion show. It's football. Shout out to Coach Ballou, our head strength coach. He's not playing that bleep. Excuse my language, but he's just not.
Love it.
Instead of lank or, 17 or 18, this is, on a shirt or on a sticker, you ought to have something like, he ain't playing that bleep. That needs to be 2025 Alabama football. We ain't playing.
Can I get a T-shirt with that on it? He ain't playing that blank. I love that.
Yeah. He says, if somebody late, like we had a few people late, I'm not going to throw nobody under the bus. If somebody, I'm quoting here, if somebody late to workouts, everybody got 15 up downs on Ballou's whistle. Yeah. And then whoever late got to push a plate and do their workout and 15 up downs. Like no jewelry, no nothing. Any team that's won before us, nobody was doing none of that. Now that number one, that's a great thing. And everybody knows what pushing a plate is. One of those big, like 100-pound plates, on the side of the way. You got to push that thing. That ain't great. Were they doing that last year? Was that a thing? Really?
I don't know.
At Alabama?
I'm glad to know. Yeah, I'm sure they rolled in there with some jewelry and all that. And first, a couple of things. I'm glad to see there's a different vibe, a different tone. Things are being done a different way. We've kind of touched on it a little bit. I think when DeBoer rolled in, obviously brand new, people jumping ship, people transferring. He's got to keep this team together, kind of put his stamp on it. He's kind of piecemealing it together in his first year. I think we saw signs of that, some highs and some lows. I get the sense, and in hearing from people, talking to people, it's a different vibe. The nice guy routine's over. They're down to business. They're going to do it their way. They might hurt a few feelings. They're going to be a lot of competitions at a lot of different positions. I think quarterback's going to be one. If people think Ty Simpson's just going to roll in there and be the starter, I don't think that's the case. He might end up being the starter, but I think there's going to be a true competition. I just think there's a different vibe here. They're setting a different tone in year two, which I think is very good. I think there was a lot of loose ends. I mean, we saw it on the field, and I think there were a couple of players that maybe thought they were a little bit bigger than the program last year, and we saw that in year one of Saban. I mean, I know DJ Hall comes to mind. He's kind of like the poster boy that everybody wants to pick on Saban's first year. And then after that, things kind of tightened up. I kind of get that sense of it's heading that way. Number two, whoever the academic coordinator is, I know there are many of them on that football team, he needs to get Rock in front of his English professor. We got to clean that up a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm no Jim of the English language. I've known to butcher it from time to time. Yeah. But I mean, come on. Woo.
Rock says, no jewelry, no nothing. Any team that has won before us, nobody was doing none of that. So why start doing it now? It's a lot of stuff that happened last year, but we ain't won a championship since 2020. So it's like, what the bleep we doing? That's not Bama football. Yeah.
Man, I love this guy. Love it. I mean, old school. That's what you want.
Now, I find it hard to believe there's not going to be any jewelry. I mean, no jewelry in the weight room or something like that. But now that he doesn't have to put up with a lot of stuff just to be able to field a team, just to be able to have enough guys. Now that he's getting his guys in there, they ain't playing that bleep. So, hey,
Barry,
if they're
I'm
not
not a
playing that
big-
bleep, then I believe them.
I'm not a big jewelry guy. Never have been. I do wear my wedding band a lot. I do wear a watch because I'd like to know what time it is, but I don't wear any other type of jewelry. So I'm not a jewelry guy. But I can see if you're lifting weights and you got a bunch of necklaces or something on, they could get caught in those weight machines. So that could be dangerous. Dangling earrings, I've never figured out. And if it's a stud, that's one thing. But these things, remember Barry Bonds used to wear something that dangled? I never could figure that out.
Yeah.
But I get it. I think it's a discipline thing. I mean, we look, quit worrying about your jewelry and your fashion and all that crap, and get in here and bust your tail and sweat and start pumping this iron. I get the message. I like it.
Early this morning, Robbie from Greenville has checked.
Whoa!
In a
no
shocker,
way.
In a shocker, Robbie is picking Auburn to lose and Alabama to win. If Auburn does lose to Florida on Saturday, on Monday, I'm not gonna want to hear this, Robbie, because you picked Auburn to lose like 10 straight games, and I told you. Robbie says, "This is what I love." This is the same Robbie who said Troy needs to fire Scott Cross, even though he's won like 64 games in the last 3 years. Robbie says Florida upsets Auburn due to its size, depth in the front court, rebounding defense, and three-point shooting. Despite the fact that Auburn is statistically better in all of those things than Florida is. Okay, sure. Florida blew Auburn out last year. Bad matchup for Auburn last year. Good stuff, Robbie. Thank you very much. And Alabama wins.
Yeah, actually, Robbie was up even earlier at 7:23 with his Super Bowl prediction. Is Robbie going to the doctor this morning? Or what's up? Why is he up so early today? Wow, man, love it.
I don't know. We're gonna have to figure that out. When we come back, Lee Sterling from Paramount Sports will join us. I believe he's got a Super Bowl special coming up, John.
He does. He's got some props as well. I think Lee will join us in about 7 or 8 minutes on the show. So we'll
Lee
be
Sterling.
ready for him. When we get back.
Lee Sterling is not playing that bleep. I can tell you that.
Yeah,
now,
you got that right.
So,
ain't no doubt about that.
That may be our tagline the rest of the day. Rock Montgomery. I'm just telling you, I'd never heard of you before, but I like where you're coming from on that. Not necessarily because it's an Alabama thing. And somebody just texted. Rock is specifically talking about the Alabama football team. He's not talking about the swamp. Okay, that's an entirely different thing, because evidently strengthened, according to some people, I have no opinion on the matter. According to some people, Alabama Director of Sports Performance Dave Ballou is not the only American who ain't playing that leap right now. That's what some people will say. So
yeah, he's right about that. I'm located here inside the showroom at Stivers Ford. Can you see the Bronco even better now? It's kind of
very nice. Very nice. It does have the big sale tag on it.
It does. It's a 1974 vintage Ford Bronco. It is for sale, but if you want like a brand new Ford Bronco, they got hundreds on the lot right now, up to $10,000 off MSRP on the Ford Bronco. And as I mentioned earlier, starting as low as $34,990, as a matter of fact. And with the Bronco, there's so many different versions. I mean, they got like the street version, they got the off-road version, so many different ways you can get your Bronco, and they've got them all here right now and up to $10,000 off, starting as low as $34,990. The Ford Escape as low as $24,990 and 1.9% APR for 66 months. The Ford Edge, you can get one for up to $11,000 off MSRP as well. The Ford Explorer, of course, which started the SUV craze back in the 80s, up to $8,000 off MSRP and as low as $33,990 and 1.9% APR for 66 months. Just a few of the many great deals going on right here, right now at Stivers Ford in Montgomery, 4000 Eastern Boulevard. And when you get close to the dealership, you're going to know it, because there are vehicles everywhere. I'm talking about the buildings adjacent to Stivers Ford. They got vehicles there too. It's amazing how many vehicles are on the lot, on the ground right now for you to check out, and you're going to save thousands. I mean, thousands, where price sells cars.
Well, basketball tomorrow begins in the SEC at 11 o'clock in the morning, Tennessee at Oklahoma. Auburn plays at home at 3 o'clock against Florida. Robbie has already made his pick that Auburn's going to lose. So, now it's official. He does that every week or every game. Sooner or later, he's going to happen. Now, Auburn is not going undefeated in the SEC. Maybe this Sunday. Who knows? 3 o'clock, ESPN 2. Alabama is on ESPN. The number 3 ranked Crimson Tide plays at 7:30 against Arkansas in Fayetteville at 3 o'clock. Robbie says Alabama wins a closer game than expected over Arkansas and edges closer to a number 1 overall seed for the NCAA tournament. And Robbie, you forgot to mention a number 1 overall seed in the SEC tournament.
Yeah. How about that, Robbie?
There you go. Yes. Well, let's take a break. When we come back, Lee Sterling from Paramount Sports. John Longshore is at Stivers Ford Lincoln Eastern Boulevard at the Troy Highway. I'm Barry McKnight in Oxford, Ohio. In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Dixie Electric Plumbing and Air rallies for you. No matter the problem, Dixie will tackle it. Their licensed and trusted electricians, plumbers, air and garage door technicians are ready to win for you. From toilets to garbage disposals, circuit breakers to HVAC systems, Dixie never fumbles. Don't throw away your hard-earned money on second-string contracting companies. Score big with Dixie. After all, they are your biggest fan. Visit calldixie.com or dial them up locally at 262-2946.
Some days you hit snooze, but not today. Today you have to go on a run to get burgers for the tailgate. You've got to haul something heavy, a cooler stocked with Bud Light. When you've got beer and football, nothing is hard. Until the other team scores. Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Enjoy responsibly. 21 plus. Copyright 2024 Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Book tee time sooner. Save on every round. That's what you get with the 2025 RTJ Trail Card. Destination golf is closer than you might think. Buy a 2025 Trail Card and save every time you play. Plus, you will be automatically entered into the Trails Loyalty Program. Enjoy 10-day advance reservation privileges at each location. 11-day advanced internet tee times on rtjgolf.com and the RTJ app. Enjoy the benefits of a 2025 Trail Card. It makes for a great stocking stuffer, and you save on every round you play in 2025 on the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail.
Okay, back at it here live at Stivers Ford in Montgomery, where Price sells cars. Our River Region Straw chat line is hopping today. Our Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry email inbox, Longshore and McKnight at gmail.com. Now, one of our new chatters, Phil, who has chimed in a couple of times this week. Phil, we appreciate you being on with us and being a part of what we do. Says, pretty damn clear, John and Barry, that's Barry, have never worked out in their life. Now, Phil, let me tell you.
Yeah, come on, Phil.
I've been very upfront. I'm more of a, some people like to get in the gym and hit the iron and hit the dumbbells and all that kind of stuff. I'm more of a, runner, steps, burpees, that type of stuff. I don't like mixing in the weights. Mixes up my golf swing. So, I'm not going to go pump iron. I've been pretty upfront about that. I'm not an iron pumper, but I like going out and sweating and getting the heart rate going.
Yeah. Phil, I don't know. Maybe there are 2 other hosts in the medium that we are in the Southeast who have worked out in their lives more than John and Barry has. I don't think so. I mean, we are both older than we were when we started, but I know John gets after it, and I try my best as well. So
I just think Barry back in the day,
Phil's a rabble rouser. He's trying to get a rise out of us. I see you coming from a mile away, Phil. John and I are buff, you know that, and just a little jealousy's not bad.
If we would have had cell phones back when we were in high school, which thank the Lord we didn't, Oh,
good
Lord.
gosh.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, no.
But I
kidding.
could just see myself in that weight room at Jeff Davis when they shut the door and turn the heat on, just sitting in the back on some weight bench and just looking at my phone. Because I wasn't in there lifting weights, I can tell you.
Yeah.
I mean, I was doing one of these and, then I'd do like 50 pounds here. But, yeah, I
was actually in a locker room yesterday. This is a true story. On the way from Harrisonburg, Virginia yesterday to Oxford, Ohio last night, the Troy basketball bus stopped in Beckley, West Virginia to practice at West Virginia Tech, which I'd never heard of before.
Never heard of them either.
They practiced like from 2 until 4 or 1 until 3. I had a Zoom call. I do a lot of work with Troy University, Troy Public Radio. I'm busy all the time. I had a Zoom call with my friends from Troy Public Radio. It was too noisy in the gym to do the Zoom call with them, so I went in the locker room, which, the internet was fine and everything, was doing the Zoom call. And I did not take into account that the players needed to use the restroom, and the restroom was in the locker room. So I'm doing a Zoom call. And I know people behind us are, people in my Zoom call were like, what's that noise? And I'd be like, ooh, let me hit mute here for a second.
Yeah.
Not good. So, yeah, we've spent a lot of time in weight rooms and locker rooms in our day, John.
Yes, we have.
Yeah.
Hey, joining us now is our good friend Lee Sterling from Paramount Sports, brought to you exclusively by our good friends at Jim Massey Laundry and Cleaners. Jim Massey has been serving the River region since 1941. Think about that, folks. Taking care of all of your laundry and dry cleaning needs. Jim Massey, the most trusted name when it comes to caring for your clothes. Go by and see him today. Locations throughout the River region. Hey, Lee, good morning. How you doing today?
I'm good. I was just thinking about when you said that since 1941. Did they even have dryers then? Did they have just lines in the backyard?
Lines, yeah.
I'm going to have to ask Jim next time I see him. How to dry your clothes in 1941.
I'm curious.
Yeah.
They have been here a long time. They have been sponsoring Lee Sterling for a long time. Paramount Sports. It's been a little while. We always look forward to your Super Bowl visit, Lee.
Yeah.
I know you've been on always a pretty good hot streak lately.
Yeah, we have. In fact, 9-1 in the NFL playoffs. So
wow.
Looking to finish 10-1, have our best record ever there. Been another very successful season. And I was looking at the college baseball polls. Used to be Miami was a fixture there, not anymore. But I did see Troy in a couple polls at 25. What's going on with Troy baseball? Is that they pull in some big recruits or something?
Yeah, got a lot of big transfers. Troy has been good in the transfer portal. They've got a couple of high school recruits that are moving up. It's getting to be that time. College baseball season begins actually a week from today. Looking forward to it.
Right.
And I tell you, Lee, if you're ever in the Troy area, they got a really, really nice baseball facility. Their stadium is really cool, really nice. So if you're ever in the area, you ought to drop by and check them out. I'm sure Barry could get you in.
I'm sure.
Yeah, no doubt.
Well, of course, with the big game coming up in New Orleans on Sunday, we'll maybe get to a side and total here in a minute. But, man, there are a lot of prop bets. And in my mind, Lee, you kind of got to guide yourself through stuff that might be a little out there you don't need to mess with. But there's some out there that do have some value that you might need to take some closer looks at. What do you think?
Well, it starts off with the national anthem. As you know, my daughter does that every year. And last year was crazy. Reba McEntire repeated the last line. So most offshores in Vegas and U.S.-based sports books end up paying both sides. So they're going to tighten their screws on how it's going to be sung. And this one's going to be the toughest one maybe ever because the singer John Batiste, who now calls New Orleans home, a musical genius, plays a lot of different instruments, and he's played the piano and the guitar for the national anthem. Now, he also started with a guitar or the piano. He's played it in the middle of it. So my daughter feels if you can find a prop where he is singing only, not playing any musical instruments, singing it only from start to finish, she feels it's going to go under the 2 minutes and 4 seconds. He usually does it when he sings it only between 153 and 155. So if you see just out there, it just says 201 or 205, and they don't specify, then stay away. But if you can see voice only, singing only for the entire national anthem, she likes the under. He's even had some times where he's right in the middle of the national anthem, broken out the guitar or sat down at the piano and started playing. So
wow,
he's a musical genius, but unless he's singing it only, it's gonna be tough to figure it out.
Yeah, take under 2 minutes and 4 seconds. Okay, I got you.
No
That's
kidding.
so funny.
You know, are there limits, Lee, on what you can bet on the prop action?
Most of them are $500 or $1,000.
Yeah,
depending on the sports book. They want you to play a lot of them because they range from minus 115 to minus 130. Generally, they're bigger than playing a game or a side. So that's my fun one that we've had a lot of success on. As far as the game's concerned, a lot of people have Saquon Barkley somewhere in one of their wagers, and his over-under rushing yards is 116.5. Now, check this out. Last running back to run for more than 117 yards was Michael Pittman all the way back in 2003 for the Bucks against the Raiders. So doesn't happen too often. I just think Steve Spagnuolo, his defense, he's going to come up with some defenses to limit some of these large gains that Saquon Barkley's had. So I'm going to go under on that. So if Philadelphia throws the ball, I do like Devonta Smith for his over 50.5 receiving yards. A lot of people are playing Dallas Goedert over 52.5 yards. I think Devonta Smith is your guy. 3 games against Spagnuolo defenses. He's caught 7 for 122, 7 for 100, and 6 for 99. So I like him over 50.5 yards and also over 20.5 yards longest reception. They use him over the middle and down the field a lot. They don't run too many flanker screens with him or 5 and out. So we'll go with Devonta Smith a couple different ways there. As far as Kansas City, I like them most first downs plus 105.
Okay.
They just slowly matriculate down the field on these 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5, 3rd and 1, and 4th and 1s. They just get first downs. I also like under 8.5 players to catch a pass. And the reason I like that, they've kind of shortened their receiving core. They're going less to the backup tight ends as Juju Smith-Schuster came back. So guys like Noah Gray not as involved in the offense as much. So I like under 8.5 players to catch a pass for Kansas City. And how about this? One that involves both teams, longest touchdown, under 1.5 yards. And my thinking here is, remember, any interference, bring it to the 1.
Yep.
Right.
Philly with the tush push, an automatic touchdown. And Kansas City, and we know what Andy Reid likes to stick that dagger into the other team and do what they do best and just do it differently. He might bring Travis Kelce across the formation if it's within a yard or two and have him do a quarterback sneak. He'll stop at the center. So I like under 1.5 yards on longest touchdown.
Lee, is there any proposition bet for how many times Fox will show Taylor Swift on TV?
Oh my gosh!
I think it's going to be like 6.5. So I think they showed her 11 or 12 times.
Yeah, take the over if it's 6.5.
Take the over. Now usually with the Manning brothers, they would have it at 1.5, and they would just show them one time.
Yeah.
So you play the under on the other ones. But Taylor Swift, everything's all forward. Let me give you my long shot MVP.
Okay.
I think there's a lot of fatigue with Kansas City winning the Super Bowl, and also Patrick Mahomes. They've won it all 3 times. He's gotten the MVP. I'm going to go with Travis Kelce. If he catches balls for 75 to 100 yards and has a touchdown running or receiving, remember, Patrick Mahomes is only throwing usually for 210, 220 yards. They're more taking their time, just slowly going down the field. I think they'll give it to Kelce at plus 1,600. So if we do the show next and you notice a little interference on the line, I might have forwarded the line to Bora Bora where I am.
I love it. Lee, I've always wondered this. From a handicapping standpoint, do you have to look at the game? If you're betting the side or the total, do you have to look at it differently because the officials call the game a little looser, if you will? Not as many flags are normally thrown in a Super Bowl as they are in a regular season game.
Yeah, that's a little bit, but I think in this game it comes down to this, and this can be my selection for my clients. This is probably a game like Baltimore and Buffalo, one possession game. So why not have to sweat it out? I'm going to do a 2-team 6-point teaser. Take Philly, take them up from 1.5 to 7.5. It's a one possession game, and one team's trying to score to win it. You got the winner there. And the total's 48.5. Games indoors, 2 good kickers, not going to have many blown field goals and have to deal with the elements. Let's take it down to 42.5, play over. So my official selection, Philly, we've won 3 of the last 4 games, 2-team 6-point teaser, plus 7.5 and over 42.5. And everyone check us out. We're on a run in basketball. Had a 4-0 night last night. Won 12 of the last 16 weeks there. Have a UFC card coming out for Saturday, and it's a 50-unit max wager. Next show's ready.
Yep.
$55, ParamountSports.com.
Appreciate
Thank
Lee.
you so much, buddy. We appreciate it. We'll talk again real soon. That's Lee Sterling, Paramount Sports.
Thank you very much.
ParamountSports.com. They're already calling on Lee right now, trying to get in on some more prop action there. Lee Sterling, Paramount Sports. Yeah, Barry, it's crazy how many different options there are out there for you. I find that interesting, and there are situations where, particularly like this for the Super Bowl, I like that. I like bumping Philadelphia over a touchdown, over the 7 points. You're getting 7.5 with the 2-team teaser and moving that total down because, you're indoors. Conditions are going to be perfect. No dealing with rain or wind or things of that nature. So I do think that field goals and any type of scoring may be a little bit easier there. So I do like that. Of course, I do think the Phantom might have something else to say at the top of the next hour. But if you're into a teaser, I can see moving it, that there are thresholds you need to get over. 3, 3.5. If you can get it to 4, love it. 6.5, 7, 7.5. If you can bump it up, love it. So I kind of like where Lee's going with that.
I know some of you are probably a little bit depressed that the Super Bowl is on Sunday, the end of the season. But don't worry. Don't worry. Coming up March the 28th, it's the start of the UFL. The St. Louis Battlehawks and the Houston Roughnecks. That's on Fox. San Antonio Brahmas versus the Arlington Renegades. That's on Fox as well. So John told me, John will regale us with stories from back in his youth of basically being on a USFL scholarship. That's how he paid.
Yes.
That's how he paid for his incidentals, his room and board when he was in college, was the USFL. So, hey, once the UFL gets here, a little bit less than 2 months from now, then things will be.
I got to think, Barry, I don't want to speak, but I got to think that maybe some of the Phantoms' daily plays will include the UFL in the spring. I pretty much guarantee you that. Yeah, it was like hitting the lottery. I was in college, first go round, in the mid-'80s, and the USFL, they would play like 2 or 3 games on a Thursday, a couple on a Friday, some on a Saturday, and some on a Sunday. So the USFL season was a 4-day weekend. I mean, they were kind of smart. They just didn't all play on Sunday. They Thursday, Friday. So you had action 4 out of the 7 days of the week. I mean, it was great. I'm thinking, man, action 4 nights in a row.
This was back when, I mean, you didn't have cell phones. You didn't have internet. John would literally have to call from his fraternity house phone. Yeah, what do you got? Breakers minus 4.5 against the Maulers? Yeah, what do you got on the Invaders?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I got it. Yeah. Well, I got the give me the Generals plus the 7 against the Gamblers.
I mean, one weekend, Barry, I hit every game. Every one of them. It's like hitting all your lotto numbers. From Thursday to Monday night, I hit every one of them. Didn't have a loser. The only problem was I just didn't press every one of those bets. It was probably, I probably bet, back then, probably bet $10 on this game or these couple of games. I'm going to bet 20. I should have probably bumped it up to 100, but when you're in college, betting $100 is like betting 10 grand a day.
No kidding. No doubt.
But yeah, swept the board, hit every game from Thursday to Monday night in the USFL. That doesn't happen every weekend, folks. I can promise you that. But that was a good month for a little Phantom back in his days at the Capstone in the mid '80s.
Did you have was there a man local to Tuscaloosa as opposed to a man local from Montgomery? That must have been difficult.
You know, Barry,
after that weekend, trying to get your man to answer the phone after that.
There were several, I wouldn't say several, there were a handful of campus bookies when I was in school. But probably one of the biggest ones by the time we got to our junior and senior year was actually a guy in my pledge class. And unfortunately, he was killed in a boating accident. It was an accidental situation that he got thrown out of a boat accidentally watching some guy skiing. It was just horrific. But it was in my pledge class, a great guy. And by our junior year, he pretty much had the whole campus. I mean, if you needed a bet, he was the guy to go to. And
business major, I would imagine.
Yeah, yes. Were they tapping his phone? Were they tapping the fraternity house phone? No. They didn't care 40 years ago. They don't care today.
Listen to John. He's off on his tangent again about why don't we try to enforce it if it's not legal in Alabama? Sure. Why aren't you knocking on people's doors that have more than 4 or 5 cars out front?
That's why I'm such a huge proponent of sports wagering. Let's regulate it. Let's don't let these freelance folks out there just doing whatever they want. These youngsters and teenagers can get on it unregulated. Let's make sure this thing is done the proper way. The state can get revenue, tax revenue off of it. It's just a wild, wild west out there now with sports wagering. Nobody's enforcing it. We want it enforced. We want it regulated. We want to get it out of the hands of these teenagers that are betting over their phone and do it the right way. And the state can make some revenue off of it. People are going to, how many times you heard me say this? Gambling, drinking, smoking, and sex. It's going to happen. You can try to stop people from doing it. They
sometimes all at the same time. Yeah. Well, this is again maybe sound a little incongruous to a few people. John is railing against teenagers who are betting unregulated right now in the state of Alabama. John is talking about what an outrage it is.
Now,
does anybody see a little bit of a little bit of hypocrisy there at all?
No, take it from somebody that lived it. I mean, I'm telling you, it's an experienced, I had
teenager who.
Yes. Now, I will say this, Barry. I did turn 20. I was 19 in high school, so I was legally able to buy liquor as a high school senior here in Montgomery. And boy, was I popular. Woo! Let me tell you what, because I turned 19 the Christmas of my senior year in high school. I got redshirted one year, Barry. You might not have heard that before.
Yeah.
So that made me a little older my senior year in high school. So the drinking age was 19. So I get back to school after New Year's. I'm legal to drink. And me and a couple other guys were too. And we were pretty popular. So when I got to Alabama that fall, I'm 19. Well, heck, that Christmas, I'm 20. So I'm no longer a teenager gambling and whatever. So I just want to make that clear. I was not a teenager. But I did gamble for milk money in grammar school. So, and on the golf course. I gambled on the golf course as a youngster.
Yeah, the milk money, that's why he's got strong teeth and bones more than anything else. When we come back, the Phantom will join us. Plus, we'll talk a little bit more about John's locale today. He's at Stivers Ford Lincoln, Eastern Boulevard at the Troy Highway. In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Joining us now is Marianne from Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry, and it is Valentine's. Marianne, tell us what's in store when Cupid arrives.
Definitely. Valentine's is now. It's amazing. This year is going by quickly already. But one thing you don't need to forget or let slip by you is the opportunity to show that special person you love exactly what you're thinking of them, that you're thinking about them, and we have lots of great options. For the first time ever, we're going to have price point cases to make it easy shopping for all the guys out there, ladies, anyone. So we're going to have a case for $199, $299, $399. We have lots of great specials, lots of things. If you come in, we even have time for some special customized designs because at Marguerite's we really do make it. So again, don't be last minute. Don't forget about it. This is your cue. All the hearts in the background. Valentine's Day is here and you want to stop at Marguerite's because we'll wrap it up and help you find that perfect gift.
Glad you mentioned the beautiful gift wrap. Just another example of what sets Marguerite's apart from everyone else. And whether it's a ring, a bracelet, a necklace, any jewelry item, and as Marianne mentioned, they have them in different cases at different price points, or if you have something special in mind, they can certainly handle that as well. Marguerite's is a full-service jeweler. They do it all from sales to repairs to special orders, and you're located there at 8163 Vaughn Road in Pepper Tree. And, Marianne, you're open 7 days a week, so that's very convenient for our viewers and listeners.
Exactly. We're open 7 days a week, Monday through Sunday. We're open from 10 to 5:30 on Monday through Friday, 10 to 5 on Saturday, and noon to 5 on Sunday. So the hardest thing you have to do is open the door, and we'll take it from there.
That's right. Hey, let's have a great Valentine's, folks, and it all starts at Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry. Marianne, thank you so much.
Thanks.
Okay, here it is, top of the hour. I do see the Phantom getting out of his vehicle here, Barry. He's going to join us in just a moment, but do want to let everybody know, yes, we are here live at Stivers Ford Lincoln in Montgomery, where Price sells cars, and certainly they want to invite you to come out and see all the great deals that they have here for you with Valentine's fast approaching. I know there's a lot of people that maybe have a vehicle on their Valentine's list, and they can certainly help you out with that. You know, Barry, we've talked about the Lincoln Luxury for Less lineup here at Stivers. Beautiful Lincoln vehicles all over the lot for you to check out, like a 2024 Navigator up to $16,000 off MSRP or 0% for 60 months. How about that?
Can't beat it.
Yep, your choice of $16,000 off for 0% for 60 months. Also, the Lincoln Corsair up to $8,000 off plus 0% for 60 months. And of course, the Lincoln Nautilus. You can get one of those, a 2025 Lincoln Nautilus up to $6,000 off or 3.9% for 36 months. Just a few of the many great deals going on here with the Ford lineup, with the Lincoln lineup. They've got them here for you at Stivers, where Price sells cars. I'm going to go ahead and say it. I say it every time. If you want to go check out some vehicles in another lot, okay, help yourself. Go kick a few tires. Go haggle and, whatever you got to do. But you're going to end up right back here at Stivers. We've seen it happen. People walk back in, I should have listened to you guys. I just had to see for myself. Okay, that's fine. You'll end up right back here because, A, nobody's got a better selection. Nobody's got more vehicles on the ground for you to check out. Nobody's got better sales associates, the most knowledgeable sales associates here to help you before, during, and after the sale. And, of course, bottom line, Barry, Price. Everybody knows Price sells cars. You're not going to find a lower price on any vehicle that you're interested in. And their pre-owned lot, full of vehicles. If you're thinking about a pre-owned vehicle, they'll help you out there too.
Well, we know human nature. If anything, John and Barry have learned about and doing this program for so long, we understand human nature. We tell you, look, there's not a better deal. There's not a better selection. There's not better service than at Stivers Ford Lincoln. You really don't need to go anywhere else. Just go straight to Stivers. And you guys are the ones who, when mom and dad got back from that week-long vacation after telling you not to mess with a liquor cabinet, mom comes home and she sees that butter knife bent at the tip, and she sees a couple of little scratches around that lock on the liquor cabinet. We know what human nature is. She tells you not to do it. You do it anyway. We understand that. Don't go to any other dealership. It's just a waste of your time. John and I see you guys over there at some other places, and you come back and we say, "Yep, were we right?" And they say, "Yep, you were right." So hey, we understand.
Do it.
Yeah,
do not do it. Also, don't think about getting into any big game 59 action until you hear what the Phantom's got to say.
Yep, the Phantom is ready to join us. It's been a tradition to get a little Super Bowl preview from the Phantom. And as always, anytime you see the Phantom's shining face or hear his voice, It's always brought to you by Kenny and the folks at River Region Straw. As we get ready for the spring, John, we're not far away from the grass starting to get greener again, the leaves starting to leaf out, your lawn starting to look better if you take care of things early. And that means beautiful, premium, long needle pine straw. When your landscaping gets back into shape, because spring is coming, that also includes that beautiful premium long needle pine straw from River Region Straw. And Kenny and his staff, they can put a bale out. They can put a semi-load out there if you want. No job too big, no job too small. All you need to do is call Kenny at 669-5959. Locations in Montgomery, at Chantilly, in Prattville, and in Auburn as well. Bringing you the Phantom.
Yes, we are here. And I'll add this, Barry. You're not paying for sticks and stems. You're paying for pine straw, and that's what you get with Kenny at River Region Straw. Call or text today, 669-5959. That's 669-5959. And, hey, he's got some seasoned firewood for you as well. There's going to be some more cold days and nights ahead, so be prepared for that. All right, Barry, we are here to talk about the big game on Sunday from New Orleans at the Caesars Superdome. Should be a great environment. President Trump will be there, the first sitting president to attend a Super Bowl. That surprised me. I did not realize that. I thought Nixon or somebody had been to a Super Bowl, Kennedy or somebody, but I hear this is the first time a sitting president will be at the game.
There have been 3 sitting vice presidents that have made it. And we told you before, it's Al Gore, it's George H.W. Bush, and I got John yesterday on Spiro Agnew. Spiro Agnew has been to a Super Bowl.
Man.
This is the 8th Super Bowl that'll be at the Superdome.
Yes.
It'll be the 11th Super Bowl, all in all, in New Orleans. Only Miami has had as many. Miami has had 11 as well. And Phantom, it's in a dome. The weather's controlled. It's 2 teams that are probably pretty familiar with each other. What strikes you about this matchup?
Well, I will say this, Barry. I am going to give, first of all, a little shout out for New Orleans. I know they went through a rough spot during the New Year on New Year's Eve, but it's one of my favorite places. I love New Orleans. I love going down there. Fabulous food. The people are so nice, and I love it. And I love going to sporting events in New Orleans because it's so convenient, easy to get around. You can walk to the venue from the French Quarter, anywhere on Poydras. I mean, heck, you can walk from the river to the Superdome. It's really not that bad. Other venues, you got to get in a car. You got to be driving around to get to where you're going. A lot more spread out. I heard Drew Brees in an interview, former Saints coach, recommended. He said, hey, this thing needs to be on a 5-year rotation. This is the best place to host it. The city just, knows how to host big events like this. And I agree with him as well. So many hotel rooms that are right there close. The airport's new. I mean, there's just a lot going on for them. And I've said it about bowl games in college. We've all been to the Rose Bowl and been out to Tempe and been down to Miami for the Orange Bowl. And, Barry, it is so spread out. I mean, you got to get in the car to go to wherever you want to go. And to me, New Orleans is so compact, so tight. Vegas as well, same way. I mean, is it Alliant or Allegiant? Allegiant Stadium, right across from the Strip, easy to get to. So I get it. I think that's a good move. I hope the NFL will consider to put New Orleans back on a better rotation. And I know all these cities want it. In Miami and Tampa and places where it's warmer, out in Arizona, Southern California, I get it. But when they're playing in Detroit and New York and places like that,
come on,
you can have it.
Yeah.
Don't get it. Do
totally
not get
right.
it.
Yes.
All right.
There you go.
Before we get to this big pick, Barry, we do need to go over the Phantom's daily pick. And it's something we started earlier this week.
I've had somebody ask me about that. They say, is this going to be every day? And I said, absolutely it is.
Every day.
They are fired up about that. The Phantom is casting his bread upon the waters, giving out a daily opinion, a daily
opinion.
Like
daily opinion. Now there again, this might not be a premium selection. We'll let you know if it is, but we're going to give you a daily opinion daily on the program, and it could be college basketball, the NBA, Major League Baseball, the UFL, you name it. But we're going to give you a daily selection. And of course, we research it, look it up, and we feel get a selection that we feel good about. We came our first one, of course, was TCU against West Virginia, which hit for us.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, Barry, last night we took it on the chin with the Sacramento Kings catching 1.5 at the Portland Trailblazers. Portland wins the game, covers the spread, and we were going kind of for a little trend buster here. Portland has won 6 in a row, 9 of their last 10. We thought it was a good spot for the Kings to come in, kind of catch Portland napping a little bit.
Right.
But bit us last night. Sacramento did not have enough for Portland, so we took it on the chin last night. Tonight, though, we did a little research after we heard your guy Bart Heisch on the program yesterday.
Yep.
We're with Bart, Barry. We like St. John's tonight, catching 2.5 at UConn.
Love
this
it.
game's at 7 o'clock on Fox. We like St. John's to be able there to go in there and to cover, catching 2.5 against the Huskies of UConn. That's our daily play from the Phantom.
St. John's 20-3 so far this year. It's high quality. Rick Pitino's the coach. I like that a lot, Phantom. That is good.
Yep,
Yes.
Our daily play, St. John's plus the 2.5. Okay, let's talk about our premium selection, Barry. And you know what it is. It is on Saturday at 5:30 on Fox from
Sunday.
Caesars Superdome.
Yep.
Excuse me, you're right. Sunday,
Yep.
5:30 on Fox from Caesars Superdome.
Yes.
It is the Philadelphia Eagles going up against the Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City's a 1.5-point favorite. The total is 48.5 in this game.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Seems pretty standard to me. I mean, the Super Bowl normally, the two best teams out there. So
Sure.
yeah.
These teams have faced off against each other multiple times, been in a Super Bowl against each other. Okay. Some numbers here, Barry, I found very interesting. So we're going to shoot them out to you here. We're going to give you all the info.
Okay.
The Chiefs are 8-0 straight up and against the spread in their last 8 playoff games when listed as an underdog or a favorite of less than a field goal.
Tight games.
8-0 straight up and against the spread in their last 8 playoff games when listed as an underdog or favorite of less than a field goal. 1.5's the spread here. They're laying 1.5.
Right.
In games with a closing point spread near pick'em, that's considered +3 to -3. That window right there. You're either laying 3 or catching 3. Kansas City went 5-1 straight up and against the spread this season in games that fit into that parameter, +3 to -3. Kansas City, when receiving more than a traditional week's rest, and there's 2 weeks between the championship weekend and the Super Bowl, when receiving more than a week's rest, the Chiefs, check this out, Barry, 30-4 straight up since 2019 under Patrick Mahomes.
That's a trend right there. That is skewed to one side, people. Severely.
Yeah.
Yes.
You give Kansas City a little extra time, 30-4 straight up. The Eagles, Philadelphia, went 7-2 against the spread away from home this season. This game's not in Philadelphia, if you didn't know.
Wow. Okay.
Including a win and a cover in the Caesars Superdome against the Saints in week 3. Now, I don't know if that's saying too much because most people beat the Saints this year, but my point being, they played in this venue this season.
Yep, right.
They're familiar with it. How about this stat? Underdogs have gone 10-7 straight up, 12-5 against the number over the last 17 years in this game, and the underdogs have covered each of the last 4.
Okay. All right.
Underdogs have gone 10-7 straight up, 12-5 against the number over the last 17 years, and the dogs have covered each of the last 4. Just chew on that for a minute. But Barry, and listening and viewing audience, I don't believe that trend is going to hold up here.
Oh, yeah. See, the Phantom was leading us this way. And then,
Yep. Took a big U-turn. Even though Philadelphia quarterback Jalen Hurts is a fabulous athlete, love this guy.
Oh boy, here we go.
I'm not sure he'll be able to avoid the critical mistakes that can get you beat against a team as good as Kansas City. Maybe a inopportune interception. Is there ever an opportune time to throw an interception? Probably not.
No.
But
Hail Mary at halftime, that's about it.
Maybe so. Yeah. But I'm just not sure Jalen is going to be able to avoid that mistake that could really bite him.
Okay, all right.
I get the sense Patrick Mahomes going to play a little cleaner game here. In a game where we're only talking 1.5 points, I'm going to take the better quarterback. This is a quarterback league. I'm going to lay the 1.5. I'm going to take the Chiefs to win their third Super Bowl in a row, and they will be the NFL champions, hoisting the trophy when it's all said and done. I will say this though, Barry. I heard your previous guest.
Yes,
and I get it. If I was catching 7.5, I would like Philadelphia too, because I do think this is going to be a closer game here.
Right.
But I do think Kansas City winning by 6 or less is more likely to happen than Philadelphia being able to win the game or even cover it with 1.5.
Okay.
So I like Kansas City. I'm laying the 1.5 with the Chiefs to win their third Super Bowl in a row. There you have it.
Whew. Man, that's good stuff. That is good stuff. It is, again, in New Orleans at the Superdome, 5:30 on Fox. Phantom, have you is it still the same where if you all of a sudden you get in with your man at 5:31, then you have missed the train? You know, you have the opportunity has gone. Oh, you need to make sure you pay attention. Don't get caught up in the commercials. Don't get caught up in Gronk in a pregame show or something like that. You better tend to business probably pretty early.
Sure, I agree. God, what are you waiting on? I mean, this number ain't gonna move. It's settled.
It's not. It's not.
You know, but in saying that, if you're going up to the window in a legal gaming place where you can wager legally, they're not gonna let you do that. As soon as that ball hits leather, it's done. If you've got a good you got a good relationship with your local man, I've heard of stories, including me, that local man will let you get in. Maybe, I don't know, they've run 1 or 2 plays. If nothing big's happened, if there hadn't been a big score or something of that nature, local man will let you get in. Yeah.
Now, define good relationship with your local man. You know, I mean, if you are absolutely putting the ball-peen hammer to him, I wouldn't think that he would consider that a good relationship, and I'm not sure that you would have that particular leeway if you've been just knocking him upside the head every week.
That's a good question. That's a good point. Local man's not going to answer your phone call is what's going to happen. You know, one of the worst things that ever was invented in terms of calling local man was caller ID.
Oh, wait. Yeah.
Oh, I ain't answering that one. Woo-hoo.
Phantom loves the redial feature, hates caller ID.
Yeah, I ain't answering that one. But if local man's got you by the throat, he's answering that phone.
That ain't even got to ring twice.
Matter of fact, they could have played the whole first quarter. He'll probably still take your action.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. I'll cut you a break. Yeah, right. Well, the Phantom, as always, brought to you by River Region Straw. Kenny and the staff waiting to hear from you to get you set up with premium long needle pine straw for your spring landscaping. Go ahead and make sure that you have that number, 669-5959. Also, there may be another cold day or two before we get to spring, so you might want to have a little bit extra of that seasoned firewood as well. And River Region Strong can handle that. Locations, there's 3 of them in Montgomery, at Chantilly, in Prattville, and in Auburn. Or you can just simply call them up, 669-5959, or text them at River Region Straw. Phantom, we normally at this time would say, boy, it's been a great year. Thank you, Tom. But the Phantom will have
a daily play.
Daily
Yes.
plays. Looking
Already
forward
released
to that.
already released the daily play for
Love
today,
it.
which is St. John's plus 2.5 at UConn tonight. We like Kansas City
laying
the 1.5 on Sunday.
A little bit later on, Ralph Michaels, Wagertalk and Goldsheet. Phantom is going to slide out. John will be back when we come back after this. This is Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Hey, folks, you got to take advantage of the incredible holiday savings at Stivers Ford in Montgomery, where they sell America's best-selling truck for 50 years in a row, the F-150. And you can get an F-150 at 1.9% APR for 60 months or up to $15,000 off MSRP and no payments for 90 days. Hundreds to choose from. Your F-150 is on the lot right now. Also, F-150 Lightnings, $15,000 off MSRP and 0% APR for 72 months. What about the stylish Ford Bronco? Up to $10,000 off MSRP, starting as low as $34,990. And it started it all with the Ford Explorer. You can get one for up to $8,000 off MSRP, as low as $33,900 and 1.9% APR for 66 months. Folks, Stivers Ford is loaded with cars, trucks, and SUVs priced to sell. Stivers Ford, 4000 Eastern Boulevard in Montgomery, where price sells cars.
Heads or tails, kick or receive, with the wind or against the wind. Buy your friend a Bud Light. Buy a stranger a Bud Light. Go to your team's bar. Go to the opposing team's bar. Buy around during the next truck commercial. Buy around during the next talking duck commercial. If you're truly up for whatever this weekend, grab the perfect beer for whatever happens. Crisp, refreshing Bud Light. Make 2 plans and let the NFL coin toss make the call. Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
The Destin Connection Seafood Market offers the freshest seafood direct from the Gulf of Mexico with deliveries daily. Snapper, grouper, pompano, flounder, copia, along with medium, large, and jumbo shrimp, hand-picked crab meat, and chucked oysters. They can even cook your order for easy, quick pickup. The Destin Connection can make a po' boy with any of their seafood items that folks in New Orleans rave about. Go by and see them at 3750 Norman Bridge Road or call 288-4272 for pickup orders.
Alrighty, welcome back in, everybody. We are here live, or I'm here live at Stivers Ford in Montgomery, Barry with Troy basketball in Oxford, Ohio, which I found out today is about, 40 minutes north of Cincinnati, something like that?
Yep, between Cincinnati and Middletown, Ohio, for what that means. Yes, Troy plays tomorrow.
Who they got tomorrow?
Miami of Ohio.
Miami of Ohio.
Yes.
Yep. I need a little help here. So I want our viewers, I want our listeners to help me out here because I was thinking about this. I believe there have been a group, I don't know how large it is, I don't want to say a large group, but a sizable group of Auburn students that have set up a tent city, if you will, to get into a basketball game Saturday afternoon.
Yes.
Is there a couple of questions? Is there only so many seats available for the student body to use?
Yes.
Number one.
Yes.
And number two, has anything like that ever happened in Tuscaloosa? I'm just curious. Have Alabama students camped out from like Wednesday to Saturday to go to any sporting event?
Did Dexy's Midnight Runners ever play Coleman Coliseum?
I don't believe they did.
The Who, anything like that?
REM played Foster Auditorium because I saw them. But I'm thinking, what is the difference? Well, what makes a student? Do they not go to class? Do they eat pizza for 4 days in a row?
again, one of my favorites, one of my favorite young people in the world. My friend Will, he's 20. He goes to school at Auburn. I ate lunch with him a week ago, and he was telling me about it. You take shifts. Now, somebody has got to be in the tent at all times, has got to be in line at all times to save your place in line. So that means somebody has to sleep there overnight. Maybe they got an 8 o'clock class and somebody else comes in at 8 and Will goes to class and that person's there like from 8 until noon. And then somebody else, you have to do it in groups unless you just want to blow off class.
Well, see, that's where I've got a
days.
problem.
Yeah.
That's where I got a problem. That's kind of like the long line to get into a movie theater or whatever it may be. And you go, oh, hey, Bob, how you doing? And you kind of ease in there with Bob and everybody behind you is going, whoa, 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 whoa. So my deal is, look, if there's if there's 6 of you that want to go to the game, all 6 of you got to stay there. None of this shift business.
You got class. You got to, I knew class was more or less just a,
doesn't work that way.
Just an elective for John.
So
I'm looking back. I did this. I looked back, did a little research, trying to think. I know what years John was in Tuscaloosa as a student the first time.
83 to 87.
You had October 29th, 1983, Stevie Nicks and Joe Walsh.
Yeah.
That's not
good.
That's not camp out worthy, really.
No.
1982, January 15th, 82, a little bit before your time, the Allman Brothers Band.
Yep, I was in high
Coleman
school.
Coliseum, yeah. Allman Brothers Band has played Coleman Coliseum twice. Bob Dylan, Hank Jr., Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, Jimmy Buffett,
no problem.
Eric Clapton in 1979. As far as Alabama basketball games, seriously, no. Nobody's camping out.
Barry, you missed one of the biggest events while I was at Alabama when Ronald Reagan came and spoke. I was there. I was there when Ronnie showed up. It was awesome.
But you're not buying tickets, are you? I mean,
no, you actually did have to. You'd have to buy tickets, but you did have to have a ticket or a pass to get in,
right.
So they knew how many people were there. But camping out, and look, I got that one guy camping out. So what's the limit? Am I holding my space for 25 people or for 5 people? See, I mean, that's where there's it can be a little issue there. Whoa, now wait a minute. 25 ain't going to cut it.
That is a good question. I don't know how that works. I should have asked that.
But the thinking, is there nothing else to do in Auburn? I'm thinking, you're going to spend 4 days in a tent? I mean, I'm thinking, how about, mixing in a swap or, heading to a bar? I'm thinking, 4 nights in a tent? What? You got to be kidding me.
And just to give some perspective, Jason Caldwell was telling us, Brian Matthews was telling us that after Auburn beat Oklahoma at Neville Arena on Tuesday night, it was about 2 hours after that game's over with when they started camping out and getting ready. So this has been like around midnight Tuesday night. And they'll play at 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. And there have been, this ain't like 5 or 6 cliff dwellers or something like this. This is a bunch. These are hundreds.
Okay. Again, I'm going to pose the question once again. Is there nothing else better to do in Auburn than to camp out for 4 days for a 2-hour basketball game?
There's very little better to do in Auburn than be at Neville Arena for the #1 basketball team in the country.
I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to a bar in Auburn and watch it on TV, and I'm going to have some great sleep for the 4 nights prior to the game.
I don't know, John. I hate to think that you might have missed out on something in your college career. I don't think I know of anybody who got more out of his college life than John did. I mean, he wrung every drop of the college experience out while he was there.
Yeah, camping
but
out.
You may have missed. You would have missed out on a really good experience, which, believe me, is hard for me to imagine with John in college that he missed out on any experience.
I wonder, as we wrap up, if you set up a tent what can you bring into that tent? Can I bring some beer? Can I bring a little mini bar? Can I have a blackjack game going on inside the tent? Can I get my hibachi and cook a little chicken on a stick?
Can you bring your girlfriend in there?
Yeah.
Overnight? Yeah.
What are the rules about what I can and can't bring into my tent?
That's a good question. Chris the Bammer says, where do they go to the restroom?
Well, wait a minute, Chris. You know, in Auburn, heck, where do you think they go?
Yeah. Our buddy Chris at the Hertz counter says, John is sounding every bit of his age right now. I'm not going to go camping out there.
Chris,
the ground's hard. It gets cold.
Let me tell you, Chris,
yeah.
I promise you, 40 years ago, I wasn't doing it then either. There is no way.
I would have done it big.
On God's green earth,
day.
I'm sitting in a tent for 4 days I wouldn't even do it for a football game.
Yeah, John would do it for 4 hours. Not about 4 days. So,
jeez.
Well, when we come back, we've been looking forward to this one, really ever since he told us he was going to do it. Ralph Michaels from Wagertalk and the Goldsheet is in the holding room. He'll join us next with some fun stuff about the Super Bowl. We'll get to that in a moment. Can't wait. John is at Stivers Ford Lincoln in Montgomery. I am in Oxford, Ohio right now with Troy men's basketball. He's John Longshore. I'm Barry McKnight. In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Phoenix Physical Therapy is ready to help patients recover, recharge, and rise. They develop a customized therapy plan for each patient to get them back to enjoying their favorite activities. Their experienced team is committed to providing exceptional care in a professional environment. Whether you're looking to prevent or treat an injury, recover from a recent illness, or recuperate from surgery, schedule an appointment with our clinic and take advantage of our physical therapy, athletic training, workers' comp, and employer solutions service. Experience elevated physical therapy today. Call Phoenix Physical Therapy at 239-9316. That's 239-9316. Jim Massey's Cleaners and Laundry is an Alabama-based, family-owned and operated business that specializes in dry cleaning and laundry serving the river region since 1941. There are 12 convenient locations across the river region. Find one close to you or call 481-1911 for free pickup and delivery. For 83 years, Central Alabama has trusted Jim Massey's Cleaners and Laundry. You should too.
Okay, back at it here on a Friday, about 28 minutes to the top of the hour. And our friend Ralph Michaels from Wagertalk and the Goldsheet joining us here in our City of Montgomery guest hotline. Ralph, we're right here on the verge of the big game down in New Orleans on Sunday. Welcome in, my friend. Looking forward to hearing from you this morning.
Great being with you guys this Super Bowl weekend. Barry, are you at the Markham house?
No, at the Markham.
my son went to school there. So when I used to go visit him, I used to stay at Markham. It's a great little hotel right on the campus by the football stadium. So
okay, all right. Well, we're at the Best Western. I got to look for that. It's a small world. You never know. Ralph has contacts everywhere. It looks like. So there you go.
No doubt.
Yeah.
All right, so big games on Sunday down in New Orleans in the Superdome. We talked a little bit last week about some of the prop action going on. Have you seen anything since we last spoke with you, Ralph, on the prop side before we get to the game and break it down that maybe we need to kind of go over that might be something our viewers and listeners need to consider?
Well, yeah, let me go over a couple quick rules about the props. And then I want to share with you the 4 props that I made legitimate bets on and gave to my clients. So we'll finish off with a bang here, giving you guys everything that I bet and released. But
okay.
The thing is, if you have not bet the props yet, and listen, we know Joe Public usually waits to the last 2 days to bet props. But if you are betting a Saquon Barkley, a Mahomes, a Hurst, or a Goddard prop, do not play it until 2 hours before the game on Sunday, because all that money is going to go on the over. Those are the 5 hottest names. And I'll throw Kelsey in there. If you're betting any of those over props, absolutely wait until Sunday within 2 hours of the game. to make those props because they're only going to continue to get higher with the juice in the next few days. Remember, the Super Bowl is not going to move. It may move a half a point. The juice may move 5%. But some of these props, and I wasn't able to log into my Nevada apps to check because I'm here in Florida and it doesn't let you access them. But, those Goddard and Barkley props are the two biggest single players that basically have gone up across the board. Everyone's bet Goddard because of what KC has allowed to tight ends. We've seen Barkley, now gets added the offensive player of the year. That's going to add a lot of love, and people are going to start betting Barkley for the MVP and those type of situations. So that's the only true advice I have is if you're taking one of those 5 players, wait as long as you can to bet them. It's going to be, if you're betting the under, wait as long as you can on any of those 5 players.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Very smart advice to say.
Never would have thought of that. There you go.
No kidding. I'm wondering, when you're looking at a side or a total, does it really matter, Ralph, if a team gets off to a hot start, particularly in a game like this, not so much in a regular season game, but if, Philadelphia gets the ball and, man, they march down the field, they put 7 points up real quick. Kansas City goes 3 and out, and Philadelphia marches down the field once again. Did you factor those type things in when you're handicapping of what maybe could happen in a game of this magnitude compared to a regular season game?
Well, again, I'm watching the game, so I'm always having the potential to live bet. But, are you making that thought process before? No, because you're playing the whole game through. And I'm looking at that Wagertalk prop sheet that I loaded with the last 15 years.
Yeah.
The team to score first to win the game. The no is actually plus $1.30. The no has won 4 of the last 5 years. So in the last 5 Super Bowls, the LA Rams scored first against the Bengals. They won the game, but they didn't even cover that game. So the team to score first has failed to cover each of the last 5 games. So no, don't worry about a team getting off to a fast start. You have the best players. You have the best coaches. You have teams that make great second half adjustments. And remember, there are some teams, let's face it, it doesn't matter who you are. There are some teams that learn to scheme first. They write that first 15 or first 20 game playbook, and teams have played well. You would think, well, if they do the first 15 plays, why the hell can't they do the first 30 plays? No one ever talks about that. It's always the first drive or the first play. So, no, don't be afraid if your team gets down quick. For the last 5 Super Bowls, the team that has not scored first has won and covered the game.
How about that? I love the stuff that you bring up that just flouts the normal perceptions, because I think people get locked up too much and, this makes sense. This is the way. I love the stuff that you get that goes against the grain of what people automatically take as the gospel without really doing any research, Ralph.
Yeah, and again, during the season, it's a little bit different. The bookmakers do have a harder time because I know a lot of sharp bettors in Vegas that bet a lot of money, and this is probably the only time where they are lining up to bet props. But most of the props that they're betting are no props. For example, I know someone that traditionally bets $50,000 on no safety. And there was a safety maybe 8 years ago when he lost, and people said this. But you know what? The odds for a safety, you look at how many safeties there are in the NFL, you look at how many safeties are in the playoff, there's actually value to the no laying a huge number where Joe Public doesn't want to lay 800 to win 100 because they don't want to lay out that type of money. So when you get a prop over 200 to 1, the value traditionally is on the under because only sharps are betting it and the public isn't betting that. They think, hey, I can bet $100 and I can bet $10 and win $60 on a safety. I'm going to take that chance.
Ralph, we've talked a lot over the years, and we've talked to some officials about it on the air. The Super Bowl is known to maybe not have as many flags as you would see in a regular season game. I've really never understood that. I don't get the sense they're playing any more penalty free in the Super Bowl as they would during a regular season game. But for whatever reason, they don't seem to throw as many flags in the game, maybe not as many holding penalties, things of that nature. Do you factor that in when you're handicapping a game like this?
Well, we quickly mentioned it last week when we were talking about the guide, and I'll just shoot out the numbers to you because that is nothing that I really look at because, you get into a situation where, if a team is behind and having to force to pass and you can start blitzing them, players get a little edgy so there can be more. But in the last 4 Super Bowls, there's been 12 combined, 9 combined, 6 combined, and 15 combined. So you have 2 years basically over, 2 years under, and that's the 4 years of the modern era. So to me, I don't look at that. Do I handicap that teams may play differently? Yes, I do. I think you tend to be a little more conservative, your first drive. And that's why, looking at the Super Bowl odds again, will there be a score the first 6 minutes of the game? 2, 4, 6. The no is 7-1. So that is a way I do adjust the way I bet the Super Bowl. But I don't take shots at longest punt, penalties. Made field goals is a different story. Longest kickoff returns, because now with the kickoff returns, you never know what's going to happen. If one guy hits a punt and the guy blows it and it bounces 20 yards, that's not your traditional way to win bets. So I try to look where I believe I have a legitimate edge with a handicapable and an explainable situation that has occurred more than in the regular season, and that is the norm, at least in the playoffs.
You mentioned this before. You mentioned this to us last week about your Wagertalk Super Bowl guide on your page. It's right there, and it is free of charge. John and I downloaded it last week. 15 years of Super Bowl prop results and all that. So for those who weren't with us last week, this is what Ralph is talking about when he's talking about his Super Bowl thing. There's so much content available online and through the and through social media with you. It's amazing just how much research goes into all this, Ralph.
Yeah, it is. And I will say this, you look at the last 5 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
It's surprising to me that first downs in the last 5 Super Bowls, there's been 46 or more combined first downs in 4 of the last 5 Super Bowls. That surprises me that you are getting drives, but teams are getting bogged down in the red zone. Again, because you have better teams, 2 weeks to prepare, you can see those. So, that sort of goes with your philosophy about more penalties. There are more traditional first downs in the Super Bowls, and the only Super Bowl that didn't reach 46 was that Rams-Cincy snoozer with no touchdowns. They combined 33 first downs back in 21.
All right, Ralph, listen, we're to the point now that I know our viewers and our listeners are interested to maybe see what you think is going to happen in the game on Sunday. What can you tell us about Kansas City and Philadelphia and how you think it'll play out?
Well, I do lean KC. Again, it's not one of my stronger plays. Philly is more talented, but I also think Philly has a little pressure having lost the last Super Bowl. And people say they have Super Bowl revenge. I don't think that. I think they actually have more pressure on them. KC being cocky that they already have won their 3rd Super Bowl. It's the Super Bowl. There is no smack talk. It's the Super Bowl. It doesn't matter what anyone says. It's not going to give another team more motivation. And again, the reason I pointed it out last week that I'm leery of backing Kansas City is, I'm leery of backing Philly, even though I think they're the better team, is just 2 situations. Kansas City is a perfect 12-0 in one-score games.
Right.
That's a historic number. No one has ever won 12 straight close games and lost 0. And the way Philadelphia got through the playoffs, KC was tested in both games. They needed late scores. They needed to win those games. So it just falls in the mantra of been there, done that. We have Mahomes. We know how to win. Philadelphia in the playoffs, 10 turnovers, 0 turnovers for the Eagles, plus 10 turnovers in 3 playoff games. Listen, my Cleveland Browns might have won 3 playoff games if they were plus 10 turnovers. That shows you how important that turnover battle is. So KC's not the one that turned the ball over. So I'm going to shoot down my props because it helps explain how I broke down the game.
Right.
At KC, I did bet Jalen Hurts will score a touchdown. And with a quarterback, that means a rushing touchdown or a receiving touchdown. It is not a passing touchdown if you are new to betting props. And I look at since October 20th, Hurst has played 9 full regular season games and 3 playoff games. In those 12 games, he has 16 touchdowns, only failing to score a touchdown in 2 of those 12 games. That was against Green Bay and the LA Rams. In the Green Bay game, the one game he didn't get one, they never got inside the 8-yard line, so there was no tush-push opportunities. And to the Rams, they never got inside. You can guarantee, no matter how teams have prepared, Philly knows the tush-push is their best shot when they get down close. So I did bet Hurts, score a touchdown. That was -110. I think it's actually -120 now. Prop number 2, Mahomes, rush yards, over 29.5. That is -$1.10. Excuse me, we talk about the playoffs and Super Bowls.
Yeah.
When it comes to quarterback rushing stats, I do not look at the regular season as far as yards go. When Mahomes wasn't in a game he needed to win, there's no reason for him to run and chance injury. But in the playoffs and Super Bowls, that's when you need to rush the ball more. Mahomes rushed for 66 yards and 44 yards the last 2 Super Bowls. And against Buffalo in a game he needed to run, he ran for 43 yards. Philly allowed a mobile Daniels to rush 6 times for 48 yards and 9 times for 81 yards in their last 2 games. We know Philly has a great pass rush. And yes, they do play much cover 2 zone. But again, Mahomes only needs to break a few of those to win that prop. Prop number 3, I told you I like having a few plus money props. Xavier Worthy, yes, anytime touchdown, and we're actually getting that at +155. Worthy had 9 receptions in September, 10 in October, 14 in November, and he exploded for 26 receptions in December. He's on the team with 111 targets, only behind Kelsey, who has 145. In the playoffs, Worthy has 11 catches. Kelsey only has 9, and no one else on the team has more than 3 receptions. And receiving TDs, he leads the team on the season with 7 receiving touchdowns. Kelsey has 4, Gray has 5, Hopkins has 4. I think there's great value. Mahomes and Worthy have really been in sync of late. Anytime touchdown +155. And finally, the 4th I bet, will both teams make a field goal of 33 yards or higher? Yes is actually +115. These teams were number 6 and number 8 in red zone defense, likely giving more opportunities for field goals. It, of course, is in the Superdome. That helps the kickers. Butker was 25 of 29 in field goals, including 4 and 4 on the playoffs, but he was 2 and 5 from 50 plus. So all I need is over 33. He was 23 of 24 on field goals under 50 yards. And Elliott, under 50 yards, was 33 of 35. I think both kickers are going to get many opportunities. And in the Super Bowl, both teams have made field goals of 33 plus yards, 3 of the last 4 Super Bowls and 5 of the last 7. Those are my props that I bet significantly and release to my clients for this Super Bowl.
That's beautiful stuff, John. My gosh.
Oh, boy. Folks, that is some valuable information for the big game on Sunday. And, Ralph, we can't tell you how much we've enjoyed having you on throughout the entire football season from Wagertalk and the Goldsheet. We want to let everybody know, or let you tell everybody how they can get more involved. I know with a lot of basketball action, baseball's coming up, and, of course, Sunday's game. Let our viewers and listeners know how they can get more information from you.
Well, I basically load a free play every day as well as my pay packages. You can find it at Wagertalk, WT.buzz/RM. And follow me on Twitter. I put up a lot of unique stats, data, trends, and systems. That is at CalSportsLV, at CalSportsLV on X or Twitter.
Hey, Ralph, what about this? Maybe when we get into the NCAA tournament in about a month, we check back in with you to get some insight and your thoughts about some of the college basketball action.
Absolutely. And are you guys 7 days a week there or just on Friday?
Just 5 days, Monday through Friday. Yes.
I'm pretty open during that period, but if you want to do it Wednesday or Thursday before the opening round, just reach out to me and I'm happy
to count on it.
Count on that.
For those first 2 huge days, the first opening Thursday and Friday of the tourney.
Oh yeah, we'll count on that.
Thank you very much, Ralph. Always appreciate it. Yes.
Great stuff, Ralph. Thank you, buddy.
What's your favorite Super Bowl snack?
Oh,
a Bud Light.
Your light's right there. Mine is nachos. I'll listen to you guys off the air as you share your favorite.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much, Ralph. I actually went Ralph Michaels from the Goldsheet Wagertalk joining us here. I appreciate you being with us. I actually went to a Super Bowl party one time where they had buffalo cauliflower bites. I didn't last very long on that. Let's take a break. It's Longshore and McKnight presented by Bud Light. Or maybe not.
Maybe not. We're not taking a break here? I guess right. Well, I tell you what we are doing, Barry. We're here live at Stivers Ford in Montgomery, Stivers Ford Lincoln, where Price sells cars. And I'm telling you, the February sales event is ongoing. We've been telling you about the F-150, which is America's best-selling truck for nearly 50 years in a row. Think about that. I mean, I don't know why other people even make trucks, but there are so many F-150s here on the lot for our viewers, our listeners to come check out. They're here for you. And it's not just like 4 or 5 that they're selling at incredible discounts. Every one of the F-150s here, you're not going to find a better selection. Number one, nobody's got as many vehicles here for you to choose from. Great sales associates to help you with anything you may need, but bottom line pricing. And no matter what type of F-150 you may need, a super duty, heavy duty, 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, they've got them here for you today. Also, their lineup of all the other great Ford products at thousands less than any other dealer. That's why you see so many vehicles with the Stivers sticker on the back, because they've got a great deal here at Stivers in Montgomery.
Yes. Go on by and see them. John and I both have been long-time, very satisfied customers of Stivers products for years and years now. I love that Ralph is going to talk to us about the NCAA tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Once the Super Bowl is over with, really starting on Monday, we're going to get really into one of Robbie's favorite subjects. And no, it's not Auburn losing. It's bracketology.
Oh yeah,
we're gonna get into who's looking good, who's not. The latest bracketology from USA Today in the field of 68. They've got Georgia, Nebraska, Brigham Young, and Wake Forest, the last 4 in at the moment. And the first 4 out include Arkansas. Right now, they have got Alabama as a number 1 seed in the Lexington region against Marist, Utah State, and Baylor. I only mention that because that's at the top of the page. In the South region, where the first-round games are also going to be in Lexington, Auburn, number 1, Clemson. Why are Auburn and Clemson always linked together with just about everything? Give me a break. And the automatic qualifier from, I think, the Missouri Valley Conference and New Mexico. The other number 1 seeds besides Auburn and Alabama will be Duke and the Florida Gators. Just to give you an idea of what Florida is bringing in on Saturday, right now they're projected as a number 1, one of 4 number 1 regional seeds.
Barry, is that a watch-out game for the Tigers?
Watch out.
Bart Heiss yesterday talked about Florida's guard play and tenacious defense. I don't see it. I'm very high on this Auburn basketball team. I'm just not very high on camping out to see them. But I'm not sold Florida can come in there to Neville. Somebody's going to beat Auburn. I know that somewhere someday.
Yeah.
I'm just not sold on it's going to happen tomorrow.
Yeah. If this game was in Gainesville,
maybe.
And again, these are 2 programs and 2 schools that I have tracked for a long time now. I went to school at both places. If it was in the O-Dome, I'd like Florida's chances, but man, Auburn is hard to beat at home. If Walter Clayton plays, who's Florida's best player, who's missed some time recently, then that would make it little bit more even. But look, watch out game. I don't know. Florida's top 6 in the country. So I don't know if you can take them lightly or anything like that. The atmosphere is going to be off the chain for that one. A lot of people, including Chris the Bammer, have Alabama on upset alert.
I wanted to. In fact, but Barry,
against Arkansas.
If you've been camping out for 4 days, I mean, aren't you just kind of exhausted? And can you really get into it? You've been going, man, I ain't slept in 4 days. I've been eating pizza. Gee whiz, I got to go to a basketball game. I don't know. I'm just saying. Just asking.
You got, you expend too much energy in just getting those seats. And now, all of a sudden, second half, Auburn is up by 2, but it's dicey. And you look up in the student section and
I want my students to be loud and ruckus, and I want them to be full of energy and well rested and ready to go. I don't want them to be mentally and physically drained before they get to the big event. I mean, you hear coaches, Barry, talking about peaking too soon.
Yes.
You don't want your fans peaking too soon.
No, you don't want your basketball team peaking too soon either. So watch out for that. We have been blessed today by an early rising Robbie from Greenville.
Unbelievable.
Today.
Well, I've got a bone to pick here, Barry.
His first
now, am I being
was
led?
Like 7:23 this morning. Wow.
Am I being led to believe? You know Robbie a little better than I do, Barry. Yeah. I believe. Am I being led to believe that Robbie wrote down every pick the Phantom made this year to keep a running total of it?
John, I know it does not sound plausible, but I wouldn't put it past him. Robbie tweets this out at 8:08, right in the middle of the Phantom's visit. He said, the Phantom is 39-40 for the season. He needs a win to finish 500 for the season unless he wants to predict number 1 Auburn at number 3 Alabama hoops next week. I'm only saying this because, again, we got to Robbie early.
Yeah.
And so we've gotten a lot. Maybe this is a record number of chats for one guy on the program. But, guys, you better get ready because this time next week, right ahead of Auburn and Alabama in Tuscaloosa, you guys better get your chats in quickly because Robbie may run the whole board next week. He'll be so excited.
Robbie, I'm glad to see you got up early today. That's refreshing.
I would not doubt that he has tracked every one of the 79 Phantom picks this year. Well, seems implausible, but I'm saying he did it.
See, Barry, that's the problem.
Yeah.
How does 4 go into 79?
Maybe there was a push somewhere. I don't know. Maybe. I know the Phantom didn't forget.
There couldn't have been 79 picks.
And there weren't 4 weeks where the Phantom gave an extra pick to add.
As a matter of fact, the Phantom gave 4 picks every week. So
I'm calling Bravo Sierra on that one, Robbie.
Robbie, I think your numbers are a little off
skewed
because at Phantom Enterprises, we have the numbers slightly in our favor, and I want to emphasize slightly in our favor, but definitely not underwater, so to speak. So you might want to check your tab sheet a little bit closer, Robbie, but just saying. Just saying. Yeah.
Robbie also, he also says, Eagles win 31-21. Barkley runs wild, and Jay Hurts makes big play through the pass to help the Eagles prevail. Eagles' zone defense keeps the Chiefs from exploding on offense, plus 10 turnover ratio for Philadelphia in the playoffs. He's got the Eagles by double digits.
Not going to happen, Robbie. No. Not going to happen. Do the Eagles really have the better team? Ralph Michaels said that. I mean, I can see that.
Well, just the numbers. I mean, they got the better offensive numbers, everything from scoring to total offense to rush offense and all of that. And the Chiefs, I mean, what are they? 15-1 of the regular, 16-1 of the regular year, something like that. They've won a lot of close games. They haven't exactly been dominant. Ralph mentioned, they're dinking and dunking down the field. The big plays aren't there necessarily. They're just getting first downs. So, but they've got that experience, John. They've been there. They've got a terrific coach who plays to his team's strengths. Yeah, I don't think talent-wise they're the better team. I do like Nick Sirianni coaching the Eagles, but the Chiefs have got some experience in this, and I got to go with the Chiefs as well.
Yep.
Wow.
I think it's going to be good. Looking forward to it. I'm not going to indulge in any of the pregame festivities. I'm not a big I do want to hear them sing God Bless America, because I think that ought to be our national anthem. I've said that forever. It tells more about our great country than the Stars. I like them both. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I think God Bless America. If I was president and we're changing it to the Gulf of America and we're about to make Canada the 51st state, we're taking the Panama Canal back, I think I might want to say, you know what? I think this needs to be the national anthem as well. See how that goes over. Why not?
Why not? Why not? Hey, also, why not? Why not a visit before the Super Bowl to Stivers Ford Lincoln, Eastern Boulevard at the Troy Highway? You may not be a winner on Sunday, but by gosh, you can be a winner today and tomorrow before the Super Bowl even begins, John.
Well, the big game's in New Orleans, but the big deals are right here at Stivers in Montgomery. So head out today, head out tomorrow. Look, let's make it a reality. Quit dreaming about that Expedition, that Escape, that Explorer, that F-150, that Lincoln Luxury for Less. Let's make it a reality, because nobody has a better selection. Nobody can give you a better deal. And I'm telling you, before, during, and after the sale, Stivers is here for you. Just there again, look at all the vehicles around town, the river region and beyond, that have that Stivers sticker on the back of the vehicle. Why? Because there are a lot of satisfied Stivers customers, and they're very pleased with their purchase. You will too. Take it from us. We're very pleased with our Stivers vehicles.
We invite you to listen and watch throughout the rest of the day on Loop. On Monday, we will recap the Super Bowl. We will recap three sizable games, including where I am right now in college basketball, and really start getting into full-time the college basketball schedule. That's on the Monday show. John from Stivers Ford Lincoln, Eastern Boulevard and the Troy Highway. I'm Barry McKnight from Oxford, Ohio, in association with Yellowhammer News. It's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Okay.